chart that I have is called individual moving range chart. Individual moving range chart is then when we have number of data points for one subgroup only, which is in the given data. This is for the continuous data, okay, wherein we have the data which has been there and we want to see if there's any special cause variation. So let's do that as well. So I have some data that I'm going to consider to prepare the IMR chart, which is called as individual moving range chart. So I'll click this data, I copied it, and I'm going to paste it on Minitab. Okay, so now I go to stats, okay, I go to control charts, I click on variable charts for individuals, and I click on IMR. Under variables, I'll mention the variable that which is, so it's average handling time in second, it's a continuous data, okay, I click on OK. Oh, too many data points here. Okay, so there are two types of charts that we can see here. One is the individual value and another is a moving range. Let's try and understand the difference between both. Okay, so first let's look at the mean, which is 457, which is the average. The upper control limit is 1032, the lower control limit is -117. Okay, so that is the lower control limit that we have. Now in this particular data, we see that there is no special cause variation. There isn't any time when it has reached above 1032, although there's a lot of variation in this data, but there isn't any time then we have received a special cause, and therefore looking at the individual value. So when I say IMR, it's individual moving range chart. So there are two charts that has been prepared. So I'm talking about the first one. Looking at the first chart, it seems that there is no special cause variation because these are, they have just plotted the data points over a period of time. Okay, now if I look at the moving range, what is moving range? Let's understand that first. Moving range is the difference between the first data point and the second data point. The second data points and the third data point. That is how it is being plotted. So 278 and 200, it is, the difference is 78. Okay, 200 and 489, difference is 289. So that's how it is plotted, the difference between the second and the first, to identify that if there the difference is outside the control limit. So these upper control limit and lower control limit is being divided considering the average difference between the first two consecutive values, second and third, one after the another, and which is concluded that there is one data point wherein there is a difference between the first and the second is very high, which is more than 713. And therefore it says that this needs to be looked at, and therefore we have the IMR chart. So even though if there is nothing in the individual value, we look at the moving range. Let's take another example, and where we see when we have less data points, how does it look like? Okay, that's how you'll be able to understand better. So I have another data, so wherein I have less data points. So I click on stats, I go to control charts, I click on variable charts for individuals, I click on IMR. Here I mention stamp. Wow. So here we can see that there's a data points, and individual moving range talks about the value. So you can see the mean is 313, the upper control limit is 1000, lower control limit is -409. Where you can see everything looks good. Nothing has gone above 1035 and not less than 409. So it seems the data points are within the control limits. If you look at the moving range, which is a difference between the first and the second, okay, therefore it also concluded that there isn't, so the upper control limit is 8 values is more than 886, then in that particular case you would find a special cause. So here you see the third, and then the reference T, 760 and 750. Okay, so this is still not considered as a special cause, because this is considered as a normal cause. But if the difference would have been around 886, then it would have been considered as a special cause. Okay, so it looks good. So that's, so we have concluded the IMR chart, which is only for one subgroup, and now we are going to talk about the remaining control charts. The next control chart that we're going to talk about are R. In R stand for range. This is to be done when we are doing the continuous data and have, means that I'm trying to compare the difference between 2 or less than 5 or equal to 5. Okay, so let's use that. So let's say I have the same data that I have and I want to use an X bar R. I go to stats, I go to control charts. Now so earlier I was using variable charts for individuals. Now I'll go to variable charts for here. In subgroup sizes, so I can mention here 3. I want to look at subgroup size till 3. Click on OK. Okay. So X bar R chart, you can see the sample mean. You can see 173, 439. So what it has done is that it has taken the difference between the first 3. Okay. Then if I look at the so first is, the first data point says it is 173. Okay, second data point says it is 439. So what X bar R has done, it has considered the difference between the first 3 data points. Okay, so that's how the X bar R is. And if I talk about the sample range, what it has done is it has taken the range, okay, between the first and the second data point or third data points. Okay, so that's how the X bar R chart looks like. Here you can see all the data points are within the control limits. There isn't any data point which is outside the control limit. Okay, so this is how the X bar R chart. So another feature about the X bar R chart is that in the sample mean, if you can see that there are 2 graphs. So this particular graph basically talks about the mean of 3 subgroups, because we mentioned 3 there. So if I take the mean of first 3 data points, 278, 240, it would come out to be 173. Okay, and in the sample range, what we have done is we have taken the range of first 3 data point, which is 278 minus 40 is 238.